It's the question that has taken over the internet, and that is having a boyfriend embarrassing? If you've seen the article by Shantae Joseph in Vogue, then you've seen her piece on soft launching men and women being afraid of posting their boyfriends out of fear that this man will end up messing up and embarrass her. Even if you don't read Vogue regularly, you've probably heard about this article because it has taken over my news feeds on Threads, on Instagram, on TikTok. So I'm sure it has taken over your feeds as well, right? And I have thoughts. So let's break this down for a little bit. Welcome to Christianish. This is the podcast for women who have Bibles, but don't necessarily have boundaries. And I have kind of avoided talking about this article and all of the debate surrounding it because part of me thought that it was a silly argument and kind of a silly article to write. But the more I thought about it, there is some nuance to this that I really think needs to be covered. And some things that I would like you to consider, whether you are currently in a relationship or you are married or you are out here dating, and whether you are dating for marriage or you are dating just to have fun, right? So a few things. One, whenever you hear someone giving advice or sparking debate about something in the self-development space, so that is fitness, that is dating and relationships, my area, or that is finance, things like that, I want you to consider the source. And this is not a knock on anyone because we all have different lives, different personalities, different desires. But I want to say this. Do not take advice from people who are not living the life that you want to live. So Shantae Joseph, who wrote this article for Vogue, just so you know, is a younger millennial, I believe. I think she's 29 or 30, so that will put her at barely a millennial, right? She is a writer. She's an influencer, very fashionable, kind of lives like a jet set life. Beautiful woman. She's also single, you know. So none of those things are bad things. If that is what you are looking for, then you should definitely follow her. Like I will say I've read other pieces by Shantae Joseph. She's a great writer, right? And not just her. There are other content creators who are in that lane, right? Of focusing on getting the bag, having adventures, traveling, fashion, all of those things. If that is what you're looking for, whether permanently or just in this season of your life, that is what you should be following. Now, if you are looking for right now where you are in life, you are looking to be in a serious relationship, you are looking to settle down, you're looking to get married, you are actively searching for your purpose partner, I think that watching, reading, listening to content like this can be very discouraging, honestly, because you will read these articles, look at these videos, And you will inevitably look at the comments, or you will look at people stitching videos, and it will be about all the times that a man has indeed embarrassed them. Or it will be from the women who need to put up a front, who are unhappily single but don't want to admit it. And they have to constantly create content pretending that they are happy being single. And just for the record, I do understand that there are women who are truly single and happy. However, something that my grandmother used to always hammer into me was that when people have things, they don't need to constantly tell you that they have it, right? Really beautiful, good looking people don't constantly talk about how good looking they are. They just don't. Really, really rich people don't constantly, they may constantly talk about money, right? They may talk about the importance of investing, or how events in the news, worldwide events are affecting stock markets, things like that. But they don't feel the need to constantly talk about their money, right? They don't constantly need to tell you that they're rich. And same thing with people in the relationship status. The happiest married women are not constantly on social media talking about their marriage. They just aren't. Unless, of course, you know, they make a living off of it. They are a content creator focused on marriage, or they're a coach or something like that. But generally, happily married women are not posting all about their marriage on social media. And happily single women are generally not posting all over social media about their relationship status, right? You may know their relationship status, as in they're posting about other things, and someone in the comments section may ask them if they're single or not, and they may say, yeah, I'm single, whatever. But that's not their focus. So whenever I see single women constantly talking about how being single is the greatest thing ever, and they're so happy that they're not having to put up with a man, I'm a little dubious. And again, not a knock on them, because I'm also a little dubious. Actually, I'm more than a little dubious, being married myself, having parents who've been married for 40 plus years. I am more than a little dubious of married women who constantly have to come online and tell you how great their marriage is, because anyone who is married for real knows that, yeah, there's so many things about marriage that are beautiful and amazing and great. And there are also down moments. There are also just everyday normal moments, including the everyday normal small good things and the everyday small annoyances too, because, you know, it's two humans coming together in a relationship. So obviously there are always going to be like little things that come up. It's the only difference is when you're in a good, healthy marriage, you don't feel burdened by working through those things, right? You kind of accept that that's what it is, and you work through them so that you can get back to being happy and in love together, right? But my point in saying all of that, because that was an incredibly long tangent, is that, again, whenever you start to see these debates online, you really want to consider the source. And while we're on that topic, I also want you to be a little bit wary and self-aware of controversial advice in general, especially when it comes towards the end of the month, when people are trying to get in, a few extra views so they can make money off their creator programs. It is important, I think, to hear different opinions, to hear a diversity of opinions. But I also think that you should be very wary when you see these relationship topics pop off and become really popular. You most definitely should be wary of the comment section, right? Because misery loves company. And there are going to be people in the comment section who are going to do their best to make you feel miserable about whatever season of life you're in, right? If you're single, there are going to be people in the comment section who want to make you feel bad about being single. If you're in a relationship, especially if you're married, there are going to be people in the comment section who will make you feel bad about that. So just be wary. Okay, so that was very long. The other thing that I want to talk about is actually, if you've also been following politics right now, you know about the whole mayoral election in New York with Zohran Mamdani winning the mayoral election. And someone asked him this question: is having a boyfriend embarrassing? And his response, I think, was perfect. His response was, if you are dealing with a man who would embarrass you, then you should get out of that relationship. And I agree, because this whole idea of is having a boyfriend embarrassing. Shante Joseph mentioned that the impetus for this article was the fact that she was going online and scrolling social media and constantly seeing pictures of women making it clear that they were dating someone and that they were in a relationship, but not showing the man's face. So they're doing things like dinners with two place settings, or two wine glasses, things like that. Or showing themselves cuddled up against him, but not showing his face, right? Because again, they are afraid that they are going to post this man all over the place. And then some woman's going to hop in their DMs and be like, hey girl, we're dating the same guy. Or, hey girl, just so you know, he's cheating. I saw him someplace with another woman, things like that. And first of all, some of you are currently in or have been in relationships where the red flags were flying the second that you met this man. If that's the case, you just need to get out. Beyond that, you also need to have enough love for yourself to know that a relationship is never going to make or break you. You are already a beautiful, wonderful person who is building and creating a great life for yourself. And your purpose partner only adds to that. They make your already beautiful life that much more beautiful. And the reason why I say this is because, yeah, in a perfect world, you will meet the man that God has for you. The two of you will have a beautiful relationship. You'll get married. If you want kids, you'll have them. He'll love you. He'll be loyal. He'll be faithful. And you will live happily ever after. That being said, sometimes things happen. Life happens, right? And this whole idea of not wanting to be with a man who is going to embarrass you. If you use your discernment, if you take your time getting to know someone, if you have boundaries and standards and uphold them, then you should never be embarrassed, right? And I want to hone in on what I just said about actually upholding boundaries and standards. Because again, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you are in a long-term relationship and then that man decided to act right for the first 2, 3, 10 years, and then all of a sudden he does decide to act a fool, that is not embarrassing to you. That is embarrassing to him, right? You should still be in a position where you uphold your boundaries, your standards. And that means that if it doesn't matter if you had a great relationship before, you loved him, you thought he loved you, all of that. If he starts breaking those standards, breaking those boundaries, disrespecting them, then you leave. You can walk away at any time. And again, if you have that within you, that love for yourself, that high regard for yourself, and that trust and faith that if God allows something to end, it only means that there's better ahead, then again, you will never be embarrassed because your self-worth is high enough that no man's antics can get you down. No man's antics can get you down. The opinions of people on social media can't get you down. None of that. Now, the other thing that I want to point out, and because this is getting long, this is probably going to be my final point. The whole idea of having a boyfriend and it being embarrassing, I think the one way in which it can truly be embarrassing is if it is not aligned with what you want. You know, I remember when my husband and I were dating, he used to get so mad anytime that we went to family gatherings because, first of all, I think my parents were pretty clued in early on that he and I were going to end up married. And I say this because, I have a decent sized dating history, right? I dated a fair number of boyfriends and all that before I got married. And almost none of them met my family. Whereas my husband met my parents, I'm trying to think. I want to say we had been dating for 7 or 8 months by the time my husband met my parents. And then after that, by the time we got married, so we were engaged after 2 years, we got married our third year. So in between him meeting my parents and like us getting married, he met the rest of my family through different events. And I say this because he would always get so upset after events because my mom or my grandmother or someone would introduce him to other family members and they'd be like, oh yeah, that's Keshia's little friend, right? And he would ask me after these events, why is it that they keep referring to him as my little friend and not boyfriend? And I told him, I was like, that is how we do things. You were not anything to my family. I mean, even though you're meeting them and all that, you're not anything but a little friend until you put a ring on it, right? Like my mom, my dad, my grandmother, other family members, no, they didn't refer to my husband as a boyfriend, right? Because they knew that I wanted to get married. And also the way that they saw it, again, I come from, my parents have been married for 40 plus years. The way that they saw it is not serious until there's marriage, right? And I say that because, again, back to what I said at the beginning of this podcast, if you're not looking to get married, well, you're probably not listening to this anyways. Because those are the women that, as a dating coach, those are typically the women that I work with, women who want to get married. That's 95% of my clients, only a very small percentage of women that I've worked with have no intention of getting married. But, you know, if that is not what you want, then I'm really not talking to you. But if marriage is something that you truly desire, if having that commitment is important to you, then you cannot go around wasting your time in relationships with a man who won't commit, right? You cannot go around wasting your time with men who say that they aren't sure about marriage, with men who, whenever you bring up commitment, say things like, let's just go with the flow, let's just see how things go. You can't waste your time with a man who doesn't have a plan, who's not willing to provide, who's not willing to be a head of a household. You can't waste your time on someone who's not serious about marriage. And if you are in that situation where you are dating someone forever and ever, and they have not made their plans to commit firm, because again, by the time my husband and I got married, we had been together for 3 years, but we were engaged after 2. And long before that, we were dating a matter of months before he was very clear about wanting to commit, about wanting to get married, and about how he was, working on his career and saving up money and all of that so that he could do things right. If you're not with someone who's clear about the fact that they want to commit to you, then yes, I would say having a boyfriend is embarrassing because it's going against your standards. And I would ask, why is it that you do not see your worth enough to demand what it is that you want? And I don't mean demand what it is that you want by giving a man an ultimatum and telling him that he has to marry you or else. When I say demand what it is that you want, I mean, you date, you go out, you get into, talking with a man and all of that. And if you can see that the commitment thing's not going to happen, then you leave. And you keep doing that until you find someone that you are compatible with, that has his life together, and also wants to commit to you. And you don't settle for anything less than that. If you are settling for anything less than that, then I would say that yes, having a boyfriend is an incredibly embarrassing thing for you to do. So let me know what you think, because I am curious. Do you think that having a boyfriend is embarrassing? And if so, why or why not? Let me know. And I believe if you're an Apple girl like me and you're listening to the podcast there, I believe that in the reviews, you can leave comments about a specific episode. So, let me know what you think. You can also comment if you're watching this or listening to this on YouTube. Or I am on social media. I am on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Keshia Rice, KeshiaRice. So, yeah, let me know if you think that having a boyfriend is embarrassing. I will talk to you soon. I love you so much. Oh, and also, if you need help with navigating dating and relationships and finding your purpose partner, also learning how to set those standards and those boundaries and uphold them, I would love to help you with that. You can join my coaching program, From Toxic to Thriving, and we can spend 12 weeks working on learning how to ditch the unhealthy relationship patterns, learning how to attract an aligned partner, and having these conversations about commitment. So there will be a link in YouTube or in the show notes of the podcast, wherever you're getting this. And again, let me know if you think having a boyfriend is embarrassing. I will talk to you soon. Love you so much. Bye.
This podcast is brought to you by Contessa Digital.